fold it over, and usually you would start here and go there. All right, get ready to have your mind blown.
Okay.
You're gonna turn that, you're gonna start here.
Okay, why do we do that?
It gives you a little bit more control.
Okay.
And then you're gonna, you know, we don't like really pointy darts. So, actually, would you grab me a pen, pencil? Pencil's fine. So instead of just starting here, of course, we're gonna backstitch and go up. We're gonna start here and we're gonna curve up.
Okay.
And it gives you a smoother curve. I don't know why. I haven't figured out the whatever of it. But you're gonna start.
It's probably the bulk.
You're kind of taking some of that bulk out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're gonna start here and you're gonna sew regular seam allowance. You're gonna sew up to here. Now this is a seam allowance.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna stop and
At the
backstitch.
half inch.
At the half-inch seam allowance, the seam allowance for A, the long. So let's see. I know, the first time I saw this, I thought, no. And then I did it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I want to see this. Oh my gosh.
So it's still pointy.
Yeah.
Even after all of that curve, it's still pointy, but I think it'll be okay. All right, I'm gonna do it again over here.
That's amazing.
I know, it kind of turns it on its head for you.
It does.
And I think this is one of the reasons we need videos, is because this is different than what we've done before. Okay. See, it's taking on that shape
That
already.
just blows my mind.
It's important with your deck that anywhere that it is sewn, you just cut it with a seam allowance. That's what I'm doing here. But anywhere where that deck is stapled, which if you think about it, that's the sides and the back. Anywhere it's stapled, you want more. They may have, in fact, I could almost promise you, they trimmed this off because it was too long. It got in their way. They trimmed it off. So we want to add, and in upholstery they call it a handle. I just learned that. A handle. You need a good handle that your whole fist, not this, but your whole fist can hang on to pull. So 2 inches extra, 3 inches extra, great. Now here, I know there are release cuts to go around those back rails. I'm just gonna give myself a cheat. That's it.
Okay.
So I've also marked the center front and the center back. And what I'm gonna do next is take my stair step apron. I'm gonna put it right sides together, and I'm gonna pin across the front. I've got the centers matched up, and I don't pin a lot, but I pin enough that it stays where I want it to be. Actually, I'm gonna go. And if your fabric is a velvet, something that crawls, it's really helpful to start in the center and sew out this way. And you're gonna stop right there, right where, you're not gonna sew over this seam, nothing. We're just gonna worry about this.
Right to
And
the
this is
seam.
A. So you're gonna stop and backstitch right where you stopped and backstitched on your dart.
Okay.
And then you're gonna turn around and go this direction. And this keeps it from shifting. It's just a safer bet. If you just started here and went all the way across, you know how fabric moves, and you get here and you've got a little too much.
Yes.
So this, I know this, it's a pain, but it is kind of a better, a surefire way to get it sewn correctly the first time. So we're gonna go to the sewing machine. I'm gonna backstitch just because I'm used to backstitching, and it's not gonna hurt anything.
But you wanna,
Okay, I wanna stop right there, and this is out of the way. I have learned if you need to, if that stitch might be too long, it's gonna go just a little bit over, raise the presser foot and kinda, you can easily back it up.
yeah.
And backstitch. And this is not gonna be comfortable, maybe a little awkward, but
You wad and stuff.
Okay. And again, I'm gonna stop right there. 1, 2. Okay. So you've got that seam done. So now we need to go up this side. So we're gonna pull this back over, and this is side B, and this is B, so we've got those matched. Pull this out of the way, and we're gonna sew from there. This is good. That would have been too far. Okay, proof's in the pudding.
Let's see. Wow, looks good.
No pucker, no, but it looks sewn. But we did not sew over that seam whatsoever. So, okay, and to finish off up here, you're just gonna fold it under and top stitch. Most of this is going to be hidden under the arm. You might see that much of it.
Yep, I like that.
Do you want me to do the other side? Or do you got?
We'll call on you. We'll call
I
on you.
got the idea,
You got
like
the
a
idea.
steel trap.
A, then B, then top stitch.
That's so good.
Because I've done it a bunch of times.
And that, the
And-
more you do.
So I'm gonna start here. And I think it's always good to just lower your needle. If you've got a certain place you need to start, lower your needle into that point. But yeah, you guys can cut cut decking out of whatever you want. The other thing you could do is do this. Fold it under and sew it. Yeah.
She used that this for that. Those scissors are bad, Diane, but these are.
Here's my chip. That's that crushed down. It's a crushed down. That was right after she had done it. And so you don't see, I mean, the tone of it.
Yeah.
It's, oh, and you think.
Let's say not having a stitch right at that intersection.
Right at that. Irene's best friend decided she wanted a chair, so she traded in this chair, went down to the store and traded it in to Charlie and got a chair. Irene followed her down there and got the chair. And took it back and he had someone, it was a nasty.
The deck is kind of flat, and then the apron comes up a little bit. And the reason for that is to keep your cushion in place. When you stand up, it doesn't follow you up. Because if everything were flat when you stood up. So having that little bit of a dip is important, and there are 3 ways of coming up with that. There's probably more, but 3 that I know of. The first way that we can replicate that is the button method. Make your button, tie them on to string. I usually say a chair this wide or that wide would need 5 to 7 buttons. But you can also do length of your, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 to 8 inches apart. A sofa is usually 11 to 13. That's just from doing it a lot and knowing. But you want them evenly spaced. Use your button tufting thread. Stick the buttons in all the way to the bottom. And then after you have them all installed, then you're gonna tie them off around a hunk of batting or cotton wadding or anything. Or you can staple, if you have wood real close by, you can staple to the wood in a Z pattern. And that's all in your notes, but kind of on top of itself, but at least 3 directions to get it locked in. Both ways are fine. And I sometimes I tie, like the front is close to a piece of wood, so but the end isn't. So you can mix and match, it's fine. The second way to do it is to sew the seam to your underlayment, whatever is above the springs. So the problem with that is if you don't secure this somehow, it's gonna move on you. So I have used these big upholstery pins, these T-pins, and I probably should go ahead and pin more. There's another kind of pin that's about this long, has a round metal head, and they do this very, very well. But the first thing I wanna do, if you'll grab me a stapler over here, I'm gonna go ahead and kinda push this through. So, all I wanna do at this point is stabilize it, keep it from moving. So, I'm not gonna worry about my release cuts or any of that. I'm just gonna come to the back and I'm just gonna put 2 or 3 staples there, a couple here, and a couple on the other side. Good. So we will keep working on this later. It's also incredibly helpful to take the batting that makes your apron, get it out of your way. You can staple it back on, glue it back on, whatever, later. So I've got a piece of button twine threaded on a big curved needle. If I had a pattern that I was matching or a stripe that needed to stay in the middle, I would start in the center and go out. Start in the center and go out. I've seen this on that part 4 of Cynthia's video. She ties a knot in the middle. She doesn't use 2 pieces. Ties a knot in the middle, goes through, that knot keeps it from moving, and then she does this side, then she comes back and does that side. I think in this case we're good. So I'm just gonna, and this is gonna end up stapling like out here. So I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna grab the burlap that's here.
Will you get under the spring?
I feel some springs, so yes. And I think that's good.
Well, I would just think it would stabilize it a little.
Yeah. Okay. The other thing I would double check is that this is straight. I think I have it a little crooked, but
We're not judging.
we're not judging. Only corners. Okay, we're gonna get there. Okay. And sometimes you need pliers to pull it out.
You
It's,
want me to get some?
yeah, maybe. So the end, we're gonna pull it through over here. We'll worry about it later. And then I'm gonna go in and back out. These stitches don't have to be pretty. They don't have to be uniform. I mean, do the best you can. And I would have already replaced the deck on this, but in my spring tying class, we're gonna be tying these springs. So I really didn't wanna mess with it too much. But get the idea? So then once you've sewn it, see, it's fixed in there. And you get that little bit of,
And
you
you
know.
can pull that tight and it's holding enough.
Yeah, because I'm going to, oops. There we go. I'm gonna staple it over here, and when I get done, I'm gonna staple the thread over here in that Z pattern,
Okay.
and that will hold
Hold it
it.
tight.
So like a mid-century modern chair, I wouldn't wanna put buttons on,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But a Victorian chair,
Mhm.
sure, buttons would look great.
Mhm.
So you just kinda decide, it's just what you wanna do. So this is the sew method. Any questions about that? So once you'd sewn it all the way across and you secure it, then you would come back and make your release cuts. Make your release cuts here so you can go down and around and finish it off. but you get a nice, smooth.
But do you recommend going ahead and lifting this like out of the way?
I do. Especially when you start to make your release cuts, it's so helpful to see what you're trying to get around. What in the heck am I trying to avoid here? Okay, I see. All right, this wood ends right here. So this release cut, I'm glad I'm just gonna follow it up to there. This is gonna go down. This is gonna come down this way. All right, I'll go ahead and do this release cut. So I know the wood is here, so my end of my release cut has to be about there. If you wanna grab a regulator,
Yes.
that would help. There's a trick with a regulator.
Those things are handy.
Yeah. So I'm still not exactly sure where to go. Okay, I can feel it. Once I get the regulator,
I don't see one in the box.
oh, shoot.
I've got one right here.
Okay. For your release cut here, pull it out, look, see where you need, okay, here's both sides. Okay, so I'm gonna take my regulator and I'm gonna poke it through right at the side of the wood. Okay, so it's up against the wood on this side. Okay, now I've got a
So that
whole.
shows you where you need to go.
Oh.
Got it, okay.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Oh, and I went too far, but maybe it's gonna be okay. So this is gonna actually turn that
Oh, that's perfect.
under. Ouch. Perfect. So, and again, if you can't see where you're going, you're gonna be just cutting in the wind, and then you have to redo. Hi, Molly. All right, so for this release cut, we've gotta get around both sides of this piece of wood. So I've got it smooth up in here. I'm gonna poke this in.
You
I-
put it up,
I'm right on the side of the wood. I'm gonna poke it in on the other side of the wood. And it's given me two nice holes. So I'm gonna go straight down. I'm gonna chicken foot this. Now, that can fold under. And there we go. Mystery solved.
yeah.
Perfect.
So,
Love it.
that is the sew method. Good to know, not hard, it takes a little bit of time. It does not take longer than making buttons, putting the buttons on the button twine, pulling on the, it doesn't take longer.
Yeah.
Okay, on this chair, we're gonna do a whole other method. We're gonna do the pull strip method. So I sewed this to that seam. And
To A.
To A.
Okay.
So this pull strip is a little bit narrower. It
Mhm.
fits in between those seams, those darts. And it doesn't need to go all the way out to the corner.
Right.
So, and then I usually just cut 6, 7, or 8 inches, cause that's always too much, more than needed. But you could measure from this line where the seam needs to sit, this is where it needs to live, to the wood. And now here, so I take this off, here, this mat, I can staple through it. I can feel the wood right there, so I'm not worried about it being, but you could take off the edge roll. I've done that. The edge rolls come off very easily. Take off the edge roll so that you can staple directly to wood if you need to. But you don't staple first.
With it, you would reattach an edge roll over
I would. Yeah.
this.
The pull strip goes between the edge roll and the wood.
Gotcha.
And when you take them apart, you'll notice that, yeah, they're in there.
Yeah.
Or if you had edge roll, but you could easily get to the wood in here somehow, then great. So again, we're gonna put this where we want it to be. we're gonna do a few of our staples. Diana, somebody wanna do those? Grab the stapler. Just 2 or 3
In
staples
the back here.
in the back and on the sides.
You're Diane.
And I'm gonna pin where I can, pin this in place to make sure it's straight. Let's put a few more in the back.
Okay,
Pull tight.
I'm just doing temporary.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, now we're gonna staple the pull strip. And I'm kinda doing temporary staples. So then we can put our apron stuffing back on. Sometimes you wanna add more. Fine, add more. That's good. And now we're gonna.
Well, that looks pretty good too.
Yeah, it really, I like this even better.
Mhm.
And it's fast. Talk about bada bing, bada
Right.
boom, done.
Yeah.
It is fast. So we need to make our release cuts. Cause you can tell that this isn't gonna go down until we do. So kind of put it in place. I know. Again, seeing where you're going makes such a difference. Would you go driving blind? No. Mhm.
That just tucks in so nicely.
Right.
No, it really does.
So here, I know I needed to go around both sides of the wood. I can do it on this side. I can do the same technique. Some fabrics this won't leave a hole in. Find another way.
Right.
And that cheat that I gave myself, I'm really not gonna use it. There's my hole. My hole over here.
Boy, that looks nice.
Beautiful. Now, I think I should cut a little bit more. But yeah, that. And then you're just gonna staple.
Yeah.
I mean, you pull it good and tight.
It's the prettiest color.
And,
It is.
and you're gonna staple in the center front first and then work your way out.
Looks great, Connie.
Yeah. But that's it. Some people, for their release cuts, they find the 2 points and they draw a line in the middle and then chicken foot it out.
Mhm.
And that's a really good, safe way to do it.
So when you cut it, it splays out like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I can, so that's what this looks like.
Yeah, absolutely it does.
Okay.